everybody. Couldn't hear you. Morning, everybody. Oh, thank you. That's nice. Holly, did you want to ask me a question? When did children rights start? Is that what the question was? Oh, that's a very difficult question, isn't it? Well, did you know that even in this country, about 150 years ago, lots of children used to have to work when they were even your age, even some of the youngest ones here. Lots of children back in those days had to go and work maybe in the factory or even down underground in a coal mine sometimes. But then a few years later in this country, we got lucky because the government brought in school for everybody. It's quite a long time ago, but they brought in school for it. So we've been lucky for quite a long time in Wales and in Britain that we've had school for all children. But as I think some of you know, because I've seen what you've been doing with the Send My Sister to School campaign, in some parts of the world, there are many children who don't get to school. And I know that when Miss Allen went over to Kenya, even in a poor country like that, the children who do go to school have to pay to go to school as well. So the rights for children have been around for quite a long time, but in some parts of the world, children still have to work even when they're very young and don't get the chance to go to school. Does anyone else have a question? What's your name? Laura, what's your question?
What do the governors
The governors
do?
or the government? The government. Do you know what? The governors is like the government of the school, and then the government is for the whole country. So it's a very good question. And the government actually has decided to try to give some money to those countries where children don't get a chance to go to school and to try and support that. And it's trying to get other countries to do the same thing as well. Now, I used to be in the government because in Parliament we have different teams. In Parliament, you know, like you have in football teams and things like that. In Parliament we have different teams, or like in does anybody like Harry Potter? Yeah, oh you do, right. You know in Harry Potter they have different houses in school. Gryffindor and Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff. What's the other one? Slytherin, that's right, yeah. So they have these different, we have different parties, we call them, our teams in Parliament. I'm in the red team called Labour, and we used to be in charge, but we're not anymore. So now there's the blue team and the yellow team, they're in charge now together. So they've said they're going to carry on what we did, which is to try to make sure that we give money to other countries around the world to help children in those countries to be able to go to school. Yes, what's your name?
How does the credit crunch affect the money being given to Africa?
That's a very, very good question. What's your name? Zach. Zach asked, how does the credit crunch affect the money that's going to Africa? What that means, the credit crunch, means it's much more difficult because of something that happened a few years ago now to get money, to borrow money to do things from the banks. And do you know what? Really, we shouldn't let it affect what we do to support people in Africa, because even though it's true that it means it's a bit harder for us, because there's less money around than there was maybe a year or two ago, actually, we should remember there's very little money at all in some of the countries we're talking about. And if we want to get more children to be able to go to school all around the world, we have to keep on making sure we keep it as a priority, as an important thing to do, to keep giving money to those countries.